speaking out there. That's what was speaking of this gardening thing. I was at a meeting earlier, but if you consider the Zeitgeist movement your home, I just encourage others to also affiliate themselves with other social movements that pretty much support some of the similar ideas of sustainability. I don't know too many other resource-based economy, social movements.
Except your family.
Yeah, exactly. But if you know of other social movements that's going on that pretty much resonate with some of the value systems that you may have, and also some of the values that are being pushed out of the Zeitgeist movement, please join them. I encourage that because it helps spread not only your own the Zeitgeist awareness, but also helps you connect with others outside of your comfort zone. That makes sense. So let's talk about what I wrote about. Just really brief some things, and it's really a report back that I'd like to share with you guys of some of the things that I'm involved in and what I've been doing. So again, my name is Tobias Fox from Newark. I was born in Newark, grew up in East Orange, Newark, Irvington, so it's like a one big circle, a small circle really, most of my life. And I got involved in the whole Occupy movement last year in October. I was pretty much blown away by it. It was an epiphany for me. And I got to see how the act of sharing, caring, loving can actually exist in today's world. And if we can just do more of it, so that way it can just start branching out throughout the community, throughout the city, throughout the state, and then eventually spread like wildfire throughout the entire country. When people celebrate celebrate their mothers for bringing them into the world, they often forget that this planet is a mother to us all, and that provides and protects us, although sometimes it scolds us as well. Sometimes we do a lot of nasty things, and like pampered, spoiled children, we often harm and offend her. Many people fail to realize that this planet, in fact, is a living organism. I'm not trying to save this planet, because this planet, Mother Earth, as I should say, has existed long before the human race and will continue to exist after we're gone. What I'm trying to do, is be honest with you, is save myself, and by doing so, possibly inspire others to want to either do the same for themselves or work with me and others. So since February, I've been helping to organize Newark Science and Sustainability Working Group. We are an international autonomous working group interested in assisting communities with the exploration and utilization of free, abundant, renewable energy and other methods of sustainability through teachings and hands-on training. We are a diverse group of college students, professionals, educators, and technicians from Newark and surrounding cities, working collectively for the common good of all life on this delicate planet of ours. Inspired by the Venus Project, the Zeitgeist movement, architect Michael Reynolds, founder of Earthship Biotecture, the Urban Farming Guys, and of course the Occupy movement, we are currently building solar panels with soda cans, exploring hydroponic gardening, community gardening, supporting and touring local farms, and painting sidewalks white as a means to help reduce greenhouse gases and bring the problem of urban island heat effect to the attention of neighbors. We actually have a sidewalk painting party in June. A neighbor, actually a person that's part of our working group, she owns a home, and she started this process of painting the sidewalk outside of where she lives white. And in June, we're going to make the event even bigger by having a bunch of us come out there and hopefully get the residents interested enough to ask questions and want to be a part of this as well. It's one way to cool off the planet, is to paint the world white. There are many vacant lots in Newark, and working with the city, we've adopted a vacant lot and are in the process of transforming this lot into a community garden where produce are grown. We also plan to build a makeshift greenhouse within this space so that we can grow food all year round through hydroponic or aquaponics systems. As Gandhi stated, be the change you want to see in the world. Also within Newark Science and Sustainability, we've added an educational component. The education component is actually a school system that I've been developing with others who simply just want to get involved, and that's all it takes. People ask, well, how can I help? Just come to a meeting, let's exchange information, and that's it. This school system, a linkage public school system, or APS, is an open-door global public learning system where creativity, critical, and divergent thinking is allowed to flourish. This is a democratic approach toward education and world unification, where people work together toward the common good of all human beings with the caring capacity of the planet, something I learned from Jacques Fresco. Anyone have a paper towel and napkins? I feel like I'm working.
Well, yeah, I'll get that for you.
Yeah, cool, thanks. Excuse me.
We don't have a fan in the right place, I don't think. I think it needs to be by...
It's quite all right, thanks. Sweating cools the body also.
When you're running,
and it relieves toxins from the body as well, so it could be a good thing.
Hey, thanks.
But our goal is to update our education to today's knowledge. Albert Einstein stated that the only thing that interferes with my learning is my education. We encourage educators to break away from the production line mentality in which students are shipped through the industrial school setting and stamped with a manufacturer date and grade when and or if they make it through the system or this process. So APS is a learning environment where people become more informed about our society and work collectively with others to create tangible solutions. Albert Einstein had also stated that technology has far exceeded our humanity. For the most part, if you think about it, our education system is still stuck in the Industrial Revolution. We have people living in outer space, but we still have billions of people living in poverty, millions dying each year unnecessarily from starvation. As Mr. Fuller stated, in order to change an existing paradigm, you do not struggle and try to change the problematic model. You create a new model and make the old one obsolete. And that, in essence, is the highest service to which we are all being called. But it was James Baldwin who said that the paradox of education is precisely this, that as one begins to become conscious, one begins to examine the society in which he is being educated. A blanket of awareness is coming over this planet, and more people are awakening to the possibilities never before imagined by the average person. People are beginning to realize that it is in our best interest to work collectively together for all life on this planet with the carrying capacity of the earth. The way I see it, in this country we've gone from the Atlantic slave trade to segregation to integration, and now I honestly believe we're headed towards world unification. So let's continue to lead the way. Peace and solidarity.
All right, Daryl, you know I'm going to call on you next, right? Come on up, man. This is Occupy the Hood, Trenton. Or what should we call you today? Libertarian candidate, or what? All right.
Daryl McKell Brooks, part of Occupy the Hood, also Libertarian Party, Tea Party, Occupy Trenton, just different organizations around the state. I'd like to thank the Zeitgeist movement for allowing me to speak. It's so important. You know, watching the video, what's the name of the video? Addendum. And you know, I was watching how the government and played roles in taking over countries. And CIA, the guy from the CIA was talking about you know, assassination plots and how planes were just dropping out the sky. And you know, I talked to some friends and they were saying like, well, it really happened. And you know, we don't live in a perfect world. We don't live in a perfect government. But we should strive to make our government perfect, the best that it can be. Right now, even while we were watching the videos, it was so just the corruption that took place in America, even back then. I'm talking back in the 50s and 60s, and things that the American government did around the world. When you look at what's happening now, major corruption through this Obama administration and also state administration. This isn't just happenstance when the book called I was just reading the book is called The Soprano State, and that the corruption all around New Jersey. New Jersey is one of the most corrupt states in America. And I just had a meeting, phone conference with Tea Party members, and they've seen a lot of the corruption, and they're upset, and about some of the problems that go on in our state. And the idea is that even the Zeitgeist movement and Occupy Trenton and all the different occupiers in New York and areas, so we're tired of the corruption. We're tired of the lies of government. We're tired of the lies of Wall Street, big corporations, that's basically destroying our state and still destroying our country and destroying the world. It's to the point where people don't know where to turn. What are you going to tell a little child about who's 8 years old, 9 years old about our government? How the government is so beautiful and our politicians are so great, and all they see is board up houses, cops killing individuals, prisons. Their environment is gone, destroyed. All they see is boarded up houses. Boarded up houses. They see people getting high, the drugs, the environment. They see schools that they go to are falling apart. A failure of education. And they only have a 50% dropout rate. I mean, a 50% chance of graduating from high school. Something has to be done. And one of the things I talk about is that we need to really step it up. We really need to be doing some nonviolent civil disobedience, direct action, marches, and protests. Because the state and this federal government, both state government and federal government, and you can also do it from the city and county governments, they don't believe in that these movements are, they'll talk a little, march a little, say a few things, but that's it. They don't believe that, if we can turn this government, we can turn the people like you had in the 60s and 70s, where you have massive protesting, people going to Washington, people going to the State House, shutting down bridges and highways. People are going to jail for what they believe in. They don't believe that this generation are capable of doing that, or stepping up to the plate. And sometimes I get a little funny acting too, and discouraged when I see these young kids, all they know is YouTube, Facebook, and just talking about nothing. And it worries me when you see high school kids and college students too, oh, I hurt my finger, and sticking on Facebook and YouTube. I mean, just the silly things. A lot of these college students and high school students, they're not aware of what's happening to our country. Our country is getting destroyed by our government and Wall Street. And we have to make sure that they understand that you have to fight for this country. You have to fight for our future, our young kids and our babies, to make sure we have a better America. And so, how do we fight? We can write letters and call up our congressmen and state people and mayors and say, listen, are you on board? But sometimes it's just not good enough. And the 60s movement, I like to talk about the 60s movement because the 70s movement, because it shows us a way of how to make things better. Martin Luther King, and when they marched from Selma to Montgomery, 52 miles, it showed the sacrifice that they had to make. Bloody Sunday, sacrifices. When individuals had to march and protest and got shot and beat upside the head. And some people were maimed. The freedom rides, how a lot of the freedom riders, they I remember one of their buses, individuals, the Klan burnt their bus. A lot of the freedom riders went to jail for months at a time. And in the 60s and 70s, people were protesting. What was the college? I can't think of the college where individuals were protesting and they got shot.
Kent State.
Kent State. We have to look at the past to understand the future of what this government is all about and what we're all about. We can no longer say or sit back and just say, oh, well, we hopefully and everything is just going to be all right. No, it's not. It's not going to be all right. We had a Vietnam War in the 60s and early 70s that people decided to say, no, we're not going to Vietnam. It's a wrongful war. It's an unjust war. And we should put a stop to it. We should stop it. And people rose up. Martin Luther King rose up. The 60s, 70s movement rose up and they stopped the war. But it was pressure by the people. We've had 1, 2 wars, Iraqi and Afghanistan. People rose up, but they didn't, did they stop it? No, we still have military troops over there. And now they're talking about going into Iran. Once again, why are we going into these other countries? Where was the weapons of mass destruction that Bush talked about? And we sat there and believed it. And we're looking, and this is our generation that believe almost about anything, And we have to change the ones who are conscious, like us, Zeitgeist movement, Tea Party groups, Occupy groups, Occupy the Hood, Occupy North, all the occupiers. We have to wake up and wake these people up. Because I talk to people about the Occupy movement. Oh, they're just people just protesting. Everything is all right. I got a nice house and I got a nice car and I got a good job. And then next thing you know, they get laid off. And then they want to holler and scream. Or something happens at their job or their kids gets locked up for unjust cause. We can really make a strong movement in our cities today. And I think that now is the time. In 2012, there are people actually thinking the world's going to end in 2012. Watching all the movies and madness. Like, what was it, 2000?
That was the name of the movie.
Yeah. Well, 2012. They were watching that, and they think just the world is going to end. Like, what was it, 1990? Yeah. And like it was 1999 or 2000. That there are people thought that Jesus was coming back on the day of 2000, January 1st, 2000. There are people who actually believe all this stuff because they aren't knowledgeable. Once again, they're watching television and media and reading books that really, this to do is to change their way of thinking, and they're not really understanding that there's some things that are happening, with the environment, with education. These are the things that we should pay attention to. Not whether the world and eventually whatever, but it ain't going, I don't think, in 2012. So, but we have to really educate our people on the jobs, the environment, even the whole prison industrial complex, education, because it's serious out here. New Jersey, I've talked about with the justice system. New Jersey has about 36,000 individuals locked up, adults, close to 5,000 juveniles locked up. And you hear any of these groups talking about all these kids going to jail. No one is saying anything about it. It's just like, oh, well, we'll let the kids go to jail, we don't say anything about it. That's a shame. We should be protesting prisons and the courthouse for days, hours at a time, 24 hours. We should be shutting down bridges, we should be shutting down highways. These are the things that are happening. And it's serious. It's serious. And, Christie talks about, well, we want to lock up, drop out, we want free, non-violent drug offenders. Well, I'm still waiting for that to happen. And then, it's terrible what's happening in our inner cities. And it's right in the suburbs too. And, issues like Trayvon Martin that took place where people were using guns, and just because he wore a hood and, some Skittles and a can of tea, there are people who think like that, and there's seriously something wrong with their thinking and personality towards other people. And how they feel about each and other organizations, like the Occupy. The Zeitgeist movement, the Tea Party movement, all these different movements. There are people who just don't care. They don't care if the world is going to hell in a handbasket. All they know is, my house is all right, I got a nice job, I got a nice car. Well, one day is all that's, the government and whoever is going to say, hold up, we're going to stop your nice car, we're going to take away your nice cars, we're going to stop you from using the internet, and you may just lose your job. But this is the type of government we have. They can ban you from the internet, they can lock you up, they can do all these things to you, and see what they'll tell you? So what? We can do it. Do something about it. That's what they'll tell you. And it just bothers me how we have a president, we have also a governor, we have elected officials in the city and the state and across the country that are turning this country to something I'm afraid I just don't know what's happening. I'm very much afraid for my children. I'm very much afraid for my grandchildren, what America's going to look like in 10, 15, 20 years. And you should be afraid too. But now we have an opportunity to put a stop to it. It's all about the people. The Constitution says, it doesn't say we the government, we the president, we the governor. It says we the people. And we the people have a chance to do something great this year. We're part of the Zeitgeist movement, Occupy movement, all these different movements to challenge the government and challenge Wall Street. I was just watching, what's the movie, the documentary I always watch, about Wall Street. And all those crooks. Inside Job. All of those crooks, walking away with the people's money. 420 million, 600 million, 700 million. They've done a hell of a job.
Crooks in the $5,000 suits.
Yeah, $5,000 suit. It's to the point where they've done a hell of a job on American people. And who has to pay it back? We, the people. So, I was totally against all the bailouts because it's wrong. Because our kids are going to pay for it. Our kids are going to pay taxes. It's amazing taxes that they're going to be paying in 10 or 15 years. And they're going to ask us, well, Granddad, why'd you allow that to happen to us? And what are we going to say? Well,
Ponzi scheme.
Huh? It's a
Ponzi
scheme. But we have an opportunity to do something about the problem with taxes, the problem with education, the problem with jobs, the problem with prisons, the environment. We can do something about it now. Martin Luther King talked about, he didn't say later is the time, or before is the time. He says now is the time. Now is the time. One of the quotes he says that no lie can live forever. We have to understand that no lie can live forever. We must be truthful and destroy that lie. He's talked about that the arc of the moral universe is long, but a bend towards justice. We have to do something to challenge this state and challenge this government, because if we don't do anything, they're just going to walk on all over us. They're going to sit back, some worth $100,000 when they get in, now they're worth $5 million. They're just going to keep passing laws. And they say, well, nothing is going to happen because the people are not going to do nothing. We'll add we'll put another type of Facebook on and put some silly TV shows on television. We'll put Bad Girls on and with some of the other foolish stuff on cable TV, so to keep the people watching. We'll have a few game shows, Dancing with the Stars. We'll keep the people occupied while we basically destroy the earth. And it's serious. It is so serious with these television shows. Dancing with the Stars and Bad Girls and crazy stuff.
American Idol.
Crazy stuff. And our kids and the family and mom sitting back watching and
Kardashians.
Yeah, the Kardashians, and it's so wonderful. Look at them dance, look at them do all this crazy stuff, while the government is so proactive on what they're doing to the American people in this world. Our government is so proactive, that there is something happening. And the people need to see that all these movements are for the betterment of our society. The fact that we ain't trying to bring down the government, We're trying to make the government better. Martin Luther King and all those 60s and 70s activists, they never talked about destroying the government. They wanted to make the government fair and about the people. And this is what all these movements is about, is making government fair, you know, and also stay out of my business. You know, don't tread on me. So, you know, I'm about to go, but I just want us to get stronger, more proactive. Me and Elliot did something so proactive a few days ago to the UNMDJ, you know, that this one, I'm in some type of, we're up in protest with this counselor and some other stuff, but she didn't show up for work. She usually showed up for work that day with this counselor and with these other groups, and the other counselors showed up except her. And we sent the email directly to the UNMDJ office questioning her, and she did not show up to work that day. I'm guaranteed that what happened was they made a phone call to us and come into our office. I know that's what happened, because she was showed up to work that day and she didn't show up. So, you know, we have to be proactive, keep doing things and thinking what's next. We may have to stay up all night burning midnight oil till 2 or 3 in the morning, working, activating our minds, thinking of the next issue to do. You know, how do we get past this government? You know, how do we calculate what's going to happen next? What kind of move are they going to make? We need to do that. We need to step it up. And if we don't step it up, then we're lost. It's pretty much done. So, and I thank you, and, you know, I wasn't prepared to speak. I was prepared to watch some other speakers, but I'm happy to be here, and I thank the Zeitgeist Movement for allowing me to speak. Like I said, you know, we have to be proactive, and we really can make some changes here, people. We really can make some changes, but we need to be so proactive that we'll make the government think like, wow, what's their move? They're trying to figure out what we're trying to do. So I thank you, God bless, stay safe.
Okay, so now we're going to hear from Edward Anthony, one of the members of Occupy Trenton. And again, thank you for hosting us here. You know, really appreciate it. Here we go.
All right, so since the last time we were able to gather with people from the New Jersey chapter of the Zeitgeist Movement, we've revised our website. We have a forum there which has a sub-forum for the Zeitgeist Movement. Okay, we would like you to actively use that to coordinate with us projects that you'll be doing with Occupy Trenton. And I hope that we'll be able to develop a firmer understanding of what it is that we can do to be an asset in getting the word out and getting dialogue started about a resource-based economy. That was kind of the linchpin of what I was discussing when we met at the Trenton Public Library. At this point, we've moved forward again, and now we have a forum that's ready. All you have to do is register with the website, and if various members of the Zeitgeist Movement need to be made administrators of that forum, that's available to you, and get this dialogue started. I'm a firm believer that the New Jersey chapter of the Zeitgeist Movement needs to have an affinity group with every single Occupy movement in the state. It needs to be continuing to do what you do, but on a statewide level. You don't have to be massive in order to take a tour. You're rock stars. Take a tour to each Occupy and spread the word and get dialogue started. Keep the word flowing, because there's going to be new people turning 18, going to college, trying to fight to break away from the matrix on a regular basis. So I appreciate what you're doing. I want you to continue to utilize these resources. Okay, they're being made so that we can get the word out about all of these symptoms and their solutions. Because there isn't money in the cure, there's money in the treatment. Our capitalistic system is not interested in curing what ails us. They just want to get paid to treat it. It needs to still exist. So when I spend nearly 24/7 working on this Occupy Trenton stuff, I'm doing that so that we have affinity groups and working groups that will step up and will explore these issues toward acknowledging the problems and then exploring the possibility of solutions. So when we look at a resource-based economy as a viable potential solution, I need you guys to, you know, light the fire over there. Okay. I don't know what else I have for you today, but I just to strongly encourage you to register to the website and to make sure that we're in communication. What other occupiers are ready to facilitate, I'm not sure of. If you guys need help getting a fire lit under them to make sure that there's proper staging for you guys to be there and do various things, we can work as an occupation with that occupation to make sure that they have those resources that we have. But again, I need to see dialogue. It can't be meeting to meeting because too much time goes by. Too much time goes by. And I've been working this day in, day out, redesigned an entire website. I have the plans ready to host a radio show out at the occupation when we're out there so that even if I'm the only person out there, I can have people call into people and have people come into the website and do that whole shebang. I hear fantastic things that Occupy is doing up in northern Jersey. I've been working with Occupy Freehold. I'm going to meet with them on Tuesday to try to pool our resources and to share resources. Because there may be things that we have that they don't have, there may be things that they're doing that we didn't think to come up with. See, unlike the United States where one state will have a ridiculous law and another state won't, and they won't learn from each other. Or they'll be like, oh, well, we have our reasons. Well, what are your reasons then? So if we look and we see that another country is striving to be energy independent, and then we're not, we can't say we're the best at everything if we're not doing what's best. We don't even have to innovate, we need to just do what better is already available. So when we look at occupies, when I look at other occupations, when I look at affinity groups and working groups, I look at it as I want to be able to copy what you're doing. Okay? If I take the time to come out here and you say that, well, I'm doing this and this is showing me results, if I'm doing nothing, then I want to do what you're doing. So what I'm striving to do at this point is not to reinvent the wheel, but to have active dialogue with all the other people who are putting work in. Because my idea isn't the challenge to say I'm working harder than anybody else. What I'm saying is that I have a door that's open. If you have a door that's open, let's fellowship. I'll meet you where you are, you meet me where I am, and we get this thing moving. Because this isn't a movement if we all sit down and do what we're doing in isolation. Okay? Now, as with other things, with the Occupy movement, I'm not here to sell you the Occupy movement. What I'm asking of you and what I'm trying to sell to the Zeitgeist chapter is I need you to do what you do, but actually do it. Okay? Because I live this 24/7, so I know when things are moving too slow. So I gave you an update on what we have available to you. I need you to use it. Or let me know what else you want me to use. I'm a member of the Facebook group for the New Jersey chapter, and I appreciate reading what's going on there and finding out about various events that are going on. Let's pull more resources. And you have a lot.
Yeah, let's find out what the link is now.
I was going to ask that question.
Yeah.
OccupyTrenton.net.
And then there we'll see forums we can click.
Absolutely, absolutely. And if anything isn't looking the way it needs to be, if it's not working for you, we have the technical support side of the forum. You have my numbers. I'm here every day. You can call me 24/7. I'm in communication with any occupation that I know to be in communication with. Again, you guys are my rock stars. Of all the affinity groups that we work with, you guys are the rock stars. And I need you to go on tour. We have Occupy Freehold, we have Occupy Princeton, we have Occupy Princeton the Streets, we have Occupy North, we have Occupy Central Jersey, and many others that I'm not cognizant of as yet. I need you guys to go on tour, get your word out, take your films. You guys have a fantastic foundation with your films and things of that nature. Hall Boogie, and be the rock stars that you are. Thank you.
So what are some of the other occupies? There's Occupy New Brunswick. What else is there?
Atlantic City. Let me think.
There is Occupy Atlantic City.
Long Beach Island has one. Trying to remember if Mount Holly, I think, had one at one point.
Mount Holly. Well, is it? Okay. Mount Holly.
Montclair State also. They're going pretty strong, I think, from what I last heard.
MS. It's Montclair State University now, right?
Yes.
It's actually the Students for Democratic Society who's created this Occupy MSU. I spent the Occupy North, donated a lot of equipment to them for their 1 week encampment that they had. and I stayed there for a couple of days and did some work with them as well. So students for a democratic society, and they're very proactive. And they actually SDS. Yep.
They're from the 60s.
Yep.
Reincarnated.
Reincarnated. Pretty proactive group up there.
The Black Panthers, out of Dallas, there's a reincarnation. I don't know if they're in the same spirit, but that's very.
There's only 3 guys in that.
Really? Well, their website makes it look like
3 guys.
Oh, yeah?
Card game.
Yeah, you gotta
They're
start
on
somewhere.
BNI.
Gotta start somewhere.
Okay, so, thank you for speaking. And I wanted to tell you that I take to heart the things you say. And I'm going to this forum and let's get talking, okay? I already took, you're right that it's too far in between. Because on tax day, I took to heart some of the things that you let us know about getting ready to do the I Told You So tour. Okay, and I'll have to put it in the computer, you know, it's old school, I'm 46, so I still write in a pen. But there are triggers, that was the word I have a list of triggers, and I think I'm ready to go with that. Okay, so now we're going to do the speeches. Now I'm going to pressure everyone to speak except for Brian, because I've learned my lesson, that was not nice, all right? So who from our chapter wants to come up and talk? And if nobody volunteers, I'm going to pick on somebody. So, you know I'm going to pick on you.
Elliot, go ahead, Elliot.
All right.
Elliot. Now, this is the guy who brings different groups together. So this
Tries.
well, who is dedicated to do it in a nice, I'm 20-something-year-old fashion. It rocks.
I didn't come with any prepared speech, but I guess I'm going to try to maybe continue what I started last time at the last town hall, which is now that we're all here and together, we have the Quakers, we have Occupy Newark, Trenton, all kinds of different groups like we had last time, and I think as a continuation, I'd like to maybe try to get a dialogue going again on how do we really start to get out there, and we have Occupy Trenton, and we got a lot of our different causes going and such, but how do we start to really get out to the broader general public, like what Daryl was talking about, when you have a lot of different people that are still kind of caught up in a lot of the day-to-day stuff for different their jobs or whatever and stuff. How do we maybe burst their bubble a little bit and maybe try to engage with them? I'd like to hear from people who haven't said a pip yet. In fact, I don't want this to just be me speaking. Make it horizontal playing field.
So restate the question again, and we'll pull some answers out.
Just, how do we get out and engage with everybody that's out there, no matter who it is, whether it's, like Daryl's talked about, he's with Tea Party, Libertarians, he's able to maybe bridge the gap a lot of times, but, how do we really try to maybe engage with the broader community? Like, I'm just starting to get my feet wet in a lot of it. Like yesterday I was talking with laissez-faire comments. We had a pretty nice long debate when we were at Occupy Wall Street yesterday, and it was interesting to sort of see where it all went. So how do we really just, not just, not get people to necessarily join us per se with whatever cause we're in, but just how do we really get that dialogue, the broader dialogue going about the whole system and the norms and everything else, about the future and stuff like that.
Well, Edward Anthony talked about doing the tour,
Exactly.
going around to where these occupy and getting them engaged. And then the second thing that he's given us here is the in-between stuff, the day-to-day stuff in which you can be on the forum. If we can steer people towards an occupied forum, right?
Yes.
Then they can.
Exactly.
I know I've had a peek to say,
Yes.
but one of the things that I'm focused on with the Zeitgeist chapter is do exclusively what you guys do. Here, we're already in solidarity with you guys spreading out education and having dialogue and seeing the feasibility of a resource-based economy. If you guys can have a package together of your videos, brochures, how people can get more information, if you guys need to make a website or whatever that you need to do, you have a lot of occupations of different organizations who can be assets to what you're doing. I need you guys to go on tour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to have your tour ready, it's like an album. You have movies, you have brochures, you have Facebook, you have this, and just wham, hit people with it, and people will be pulled in by what works for them. And
I
from
think
there,
we're almost there.
Yeah.
We have all our individual materials. The only thing that's lacking right now is the website. I've reached out to Zeitgeist Global, and they have given me a template for a website. It's there right now. The site says under construction, right? But it's going to be sort of look-alike to the, or akin with the global one. Okay, and that'll be the last step. So.
that's
Also-
fantastic.
Also, which is good is that do more town hall meetings in certain in areas where, like urban areas, like the city of Trenton, pass out, make about 1,000 flyers, and go door to door and talk to people and shake their hands and give them information. That's I look at that as always the best way of getting people to come out is getting knocking on doors, talking to people, passing out literature, and having a certain time, place where they can go and meet and find out about the
Well, we
Zeitgeist.
have a meeting in June 10th. It's going to be in Princeton, in the park, Turning Basin Park in Princeton. And that could be, we want to have a meeting, once a month so that we have these places to promote. That's our excuse to get out there and canvas.
If you guys need a place to do rehearsals, we're an occupation where you can do rehearsals. We have the occupation park right there. We have this here. If you guys want to practice getting permits in various areas, you can practice with our city. Anything that you need to do like that to just get acclimated to putting on a real tour.
Well,
Now-
we got a permit in Princeton. Is there?
Okay.
Are you a Trenton resident? Maybe we can get a permit to be in one of these parks.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
that
it's
sounds
easy.
great.
It's not that hard.
I'm a Trenton resident. I also have a business here. Any support that you guys need, I can show you how it's done. My main thing is that you guys basically are the substance. So it's kind of like I can bring a fish bowl, but no kids are going to be like, ooh, if there's nothing in there. So I got this. We got the park. We got permits. We got LLCs. We got nonprofits. We got websites. Just continue to do what you guys do. Have confidence that you have captive audiences. You don't. As far as I'm concerned, it's not to trifle upon anybody's perspective. But I don't even think you need to get another audience or get more people. You just need to do what you do more often. And you have a circuit that is ripe. And just don't rush, but just don't be lax either. Because again, this is a 24/7 gig for some of us, and there's a reason why it is. We're occupying other countries and killing people 24/7. We have no break from that. People have a good time going to the mall in the United States eating ice water while we're killing people. So the least we can do is be focused. Not necessarily, do what you need to do to have your balance in your life. Kiss your kids, hug your wives and your husbands and your boyfriends and your girlfriends and things like that. But remember what we're fighting for and why we're focused. Why we're nonviolent. Why we're focused as we are. And do what you do, because I can't do what you do. See what I'm saying? Yes. What I can do is bring the fishbowl, and you guys can bring the fresh water and the substance.
And the guppies.
Yep. And I'll make sure that when you're here, if you say we need flyers, we need this, we need that, if you let me know ahead of time, we'll make it happen. That's what we're focused on.
I have to check out this forum because, by the way, the calendar is a large part of the new website, the June template, so it's exactly what you're looking for.
Yes. One of the big things also is to really keep up with, obviously we talk about Zeitgeist and Occupy, even just almost, I would say so far a lot of the groups, Unidad Latina Action New Jersey, ESWA, and pretty much a lot of the other groups, there's some kind of overlap, one way or another, with whether it's Occupy or Zeitgeist. There's just so much overlap out there in the world today. I think it's a crime that, that we, each moment that goes by and we don't engage, that's just a big moment lost or whatever. And another thing that I also think about is all the ideas that we're talking about here. Edward, Anthony, and I get into a lot of these discussions about making the city of Trenton more sustainable, or Tobias with the Science Sustainability Group. How do we really work to make it all more tangible? Like, I'm gonna get more into like the transitional phase about like, to how do we really get, these ideas. Let's be honest, a lot of these ideas to a lot of people seem very for lack of a better term, very detached from reality. Like it's not like, you know,
Pipe
in the-
dream.
right.
It's very foreign.
Yes. Now, how do we really try to, you know, when I talk about breaking, you know, into, you know, the average person's mind, like maybe make something more tangible of that nature? Like, how do we really get to the ball rolling with that one also?
So what I like about what I'm doing is that I'm not the only one doing it.
Exactly.
You know, it's like I'm not reinventing anything. I was inspired by others who are doing what I'm doing now. You know. So and then I learned that aside from man-made laws, natural law states that if we don't eat, we get sick and die. Point blank. If we don't eat, you get sick and die. So to feed someone is truly, truly an amazing thing. I mean, and throughout history, you know, wars have been won because armies were just starved, you know. So an amazing thing happened is that Newark has created this Adopt a Lot program where you can adopt a lot for $1. They have this available space but don't have anything to do with it. And as a part of their movement to try to beautify the city, it says, well, we create an Adopt a Lot program, have people, whether whomever they are, you know, they're residents or they have a nonprofit, they want to come in and turn this lot into a garden. So I decided to propose to the Science and Sustainability group, says, hey, let's adopt a lot, take one lot at a time, and we cultivate that lot into a community garden, focusing on produce. We give 80% of the produce to the community. We have to sell some of it to sustain a lot, and then we incorporate modern technology into that with solar technology, aquaponics, hydroponics, and whomever have an interest in things like that, just walk in. You know, it's an open door. You know, policy. Just come on in and express yourself and claim the space. You know, this is like your opportunity to practice your craft or learn something new, if you so bid. A lot of times I realize that people really don't have a place or space to even practice the things that they would like to do. So this is an opportunity to actually offer space for people who want to experiment and practice solar technology. You can't store this stuff, you know, and we want to be more sustainable. So it says with micro rentals, you know, taking raw materials. I don't know if anybody know it, but if you go to earthship.com, you'll see that this guy is building homes and buildings where it sustains itself. His own sewer system, completely off the grid, no electrical power outlets, no PS&G bill. The structures, the homes and buildings and they have these built-in gardens. Unbelievable, you know. But people, if you don't expose these things to people, they cannot think beyond what they already see. They can't think beyond a brick building. If you haven't exposed them that you can make a home with water. I'm like, what? What is that? But if you can't, if you can think it, if you can perceive it, perception creates reality. So the thing is that we gotta, what I love about the Zeitgeist movement, because it brings this high-tech experiences into people's lives, and well, really into their minds, because it allows us to see these things like, wow, you can actually live without money. A lot of people in Occupy Newark and within the Occupy Science Sustainability Working Group have no clue who a Zeitgeist movement is. I'm the only one usually in a debate that, you know, we don't no longer need money, and they says, Tobias, you're a dreamer, you know, let's just take life in steps. You're just taking too many hurdles, you know. So I would say if you can meet people with where they are, and then introduce them, gradually introduce them to things that they probably aren't informed with. A community garden. Hey, you ever think about having a greenhouse in your garden with a hydroponic system? Oh, I never thought about that. What's a hydroponic system? Then you can introduce these things to them, you know, introduce technological experiences into their everyday lives. So that's the approach that I try to take.
See, the resource-based economy already exists. You're already living that. If you have a family, you basically, if you have children or parents, grandparents, and if they live in your home, You don't charge them for food. You don't charge them for like rent to live in your house. You don't, it already exists. You're actually using the resources that you have, and other people are benefiting from them. So it's really a prime example of how to explain to people what the resource-based economy really is. It's a system that whatever resources you have, you utilize them, and you do them for free.
Exactly.
So,
And that's the approach I take. For instance, I'm just using the garden as an example. A young lady that's in part of our group, she is a fashion designer. She designed things. So I wrote out with others. We shared information online through our Google group of what we would like to see in this garden. And then because I'm a writer, I'm editor, publisher, and just writing for days, so I organized our thoughts on paper, and then had someone do a really rough model of what this garden could look like. But then this designer came in, and she took it to a whole other level,
New level.
you know, and just blew all of us away. Like, wow, you know. So now I'm giving people opportunity to exercise their talents and their gifts, their skills. And then we have another person in part of this group. He's an electrical engineer. He's studying solar technology for the past 8 years. And he is well informed of how to create heating systems, solar panels with solar cans, and also traditional solar technology. But now we've allowed him an opportunity to practice this skill, where he can, because now he's in a fight with PSNG, because now they're stopping people from homeowners from setting up solar panels in their homes, because it's a huge conflict, and PSNG went in through legislation, put a stop on that. But so I says, well, look, you know, come to the community garden. We're building a greenhouse. Let's set up a couple of solar panels, and then let's go door to door and just show the residents in this community, because we are within the community. Let's show them this technology and show them how they can come off the grid. So so now I gave this guy a whole audience that he can just express the things. He's become a professor now, you know, without the building. So I just love bringing people together. I embrace the whole idea of what Zeitgeist movement represents, Venus Project represents. So I try to bring all these elements together.
And I think in there lies our only hope, the way I see it, because it's you know, to acknowledge and recognize that we need to empower ourselves as people, as communities, back to communities, because it's going to be our only hope from the perspective that we ourselves have the capability of breaking away from the corporate state, which is, you know, also why they are passing all these laws, all these, you know, to repress, you know, people's rights to gather, to protest, to even, you know, through corporations, they're trying to pass laws, and, you know, like companies like Monsanto, where they, you know, to ban people from even growing their own foods. I mean, it's already been implemented. It's doing it in some areas, some states. I'm not sure, but, you know, that's coming, you know, big time. So it's really about restricting you and limiting that power, you know, that we have to really create our own communities, you know, because they don't want that. They don't want us to break away from that corporate, you know, way of the way they have, you know, created this society, you know, and there's where we headed pretty much, you know, which is a more sophisticated way of slavery, you know, for everybody. Yeah.
We have to talk about a lot of the, you know, the economic system too behind this, because you know, people keep feeding other people that, you know, oh, this country grew on capitalism. Well, most people remember from somewhere in school they had robber barons back there. Those robber barons, they got in before the regulations were there. They're the guys who created a lot of this acid mine pollution in Appalachia. It's still there after 150 years. It would, you know, oh, we mined all the coal and we left the pollution for people to clear up or drink in their drinking water. I mean, this country grew up on, well, slavery, that was one. Exploitation of the land, which if you've seen any of the pictures of the Dust Bowl in the 30s, you remember huge black clouds of dust because they were deep plowing and the soil was just blowing away. Let's see, what else has this country grown on? Well, of course, alcohol and you know,
Drugs.
and extinction of the Native Americans. Why are there any Native Americans here, by the way? No, there's a pretty good reason for that. Most of them are gone. And if you've seen Pine Ridge out west, you'll realize that they don't have much longer left. You know, they're living in poverty. There's alcohol all around, no jobs. You know, this is the result of laissez-faire capitalism. You know, it's basically a Darwinian survival of the fittest, and there's